Hello everyone and welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobby and I will be your guide for today. Today I'm going to channel some messages through and see what's going on with my guidance to help you guys. And that's all to do with Ascension Messages, how we are going to move through this transition, which is a huge transition for the whole of humanity. Yeah, first of all, though, before I start, there's a couple of people, Renee, Rena and Shane, who's booked me but never turned up for their bookings. And just want to make sure that you guys, I've been trying to reach out to you. So if you watch this and you still want to have your reading, then please contact me ASAP and we can sort out a time. Absolutely no problems whatsoever. You know, always give people at least one more chance to turn up to their readings. So Rena and Shane, if you're there, please contact me. I have been trying to contact you. Okay, and moving on. So beautiful new beginnings, right? And the end of something else that we have. I'm putting it over there like something that I don't even want to look at anymore. It's like the end of that. You know what? It's been really interesting, my guidance that's taking me through to my brain and what's happening in my brain as we are activating this new light experience. And it's going beyond light. It's literally going beyond light. You know, light is almost like a boundary for humanities to explore. It's a place where, you know, if there's a lot of light, all of a sudden it's blinding. And if anyone goes through portals into another world, literally they will see that all this light's like another reality beyond that light. So if they can't handle that much light, which is wisdom, which is you know, more information, more wisdom, more love, more everything, then it's just this blank wall of, I can't handle this, and they're blinded, and, you know, it's just like the whole of our reality stops there. So they're showing me that as a, now we are activating more in our minds and our brains, and new neuron paths on even new ways of thinking is opening us up. And they're showing me the yin yang symbol splitting into two circles and then joining in the center, and then that center is now activating more, which is forming a whole new circle. It's like the more that the circles come together, the more they create one circle again. And I don't know why they're saying it like that, but they're also showing me a brain being, as it's working. And then in the past, we had this kind of war going on within our two hemispheres. Obviously, you know, I always split it into left and right, feminine and masculine, but everything has everything within it. So the masculine or the left has the feminine intuition in it as well. It's like, because that's why we have that yin yang symbol, where there's the little black dot and the white teardrop, and the little white dot in the black teardrop. That there's always something that you're never completely separated from the wholeness of yourself, is what they're saying. And so you could separate it, but it will always still carry something of the logic, will always still carry a little bit of the intuition and so forth. And the more that our logic starts to let go of controlling everything and seeing and thinking it knows everything, and allowing this other aspect of ourselves to come in, the intuition, the feeling base, then it starts to activate that feeling base little spark within itself. And then the mergence starts to form within ourself, our psyche, our brain. And then within that emergence, it's like new activations of new ways of seeing things. So we start to get these whole new awarenesses of how we can actually create a new reality, a new baseline for a new world. It was beautiful. It was so freaking beautiful. Major buffering. Yeah, I think it's going to go in and out So sorry. I'm so sorry. If it does keep happening, I will try again later. I am so sorry. I'm only here for another week or so, and then I'll be going back to my girlfriend's place for a couple of weeks before I go to Mullaney and go to Glasshouse Mountain. So if anyone wants to follow me on that trip, I'm actually going to take you guys on a trip to some sacred places as well. Yeah, so sorry about that it's all over the show. I'm doing my best with what I have at the moment. Hopefully, everything will settle in my life. And then when it settles in my life, I will have a very strong connection with you guys more. I'll just do what I can do, what I can. Any case, so there were two, I want to go back into, I might have to record this instead. And when I record it, then I can share it to you, because it's a lot of information that's starting to come through. I did see that it was a bad connection up on my screen too, Annie. So it's not just you. But yeah, hopefully everything will settle in my life. And when it settles, I'm going to have a stronger connection. I might just start to record the next couple while I'm here, so that we don't get this. But it's such a shame, because I love connecting with you guys in the chat bar. Any case, we'll go back to where I was channeling. So easy for me to go back to that, because it was one of those astral traveling dreams that you can have that take you into the new earth. And when I was in this new earth, it was so, I can't describe the peace, the sharing, the caring, the not worrying about not having to look behind your back. There was like this, everybody was in the same sort of different level of existence where we didn't have to worry about each other anymore. I mean, there was always going to be those outside of us that we would be maybe concerned about, because it's never, ever a clean slate. But within the human consciousness, we were connected as oneness. And I think that as we go along, we start to connect with other different species, and it literally pulls us closer and closer and closer to the I, or the source of all things, the love of all things. So in this dream, though, humans were at least connected as oneness, and that's the higher dimensions that we move into, and the freedom, the feeling of being able to create whatever you want and not have to go through all these little wormholes of other people's decisions, of laws and restrictions, and keeping us in a contained sort of a place. It wasn't like that. There was the thing that directed us was our soul, and our soul knew better. Our soul knew not to create something that was in disharmony to everything else, or anyways. So it was coming from an unconditional space, and unconditional love. Love is unconditional anyway. So it was a light frequency, and the colors were beautiful, and it just felt so I can't describe it. But in any case, this is, I've been showing these paths for a reason, so that I can tell you guys these do exist, these paths do exist. Yes, I was astral traveling, but while I was there, it was so real to me. And I know that this is a compass that I have within myself of where I'm going. And if I can move towards that every single day, then I will end up moving closer and closer to the oneness that I'm really wanting to get to, while I'm still as a human on this plane of existence, and living in a separated way from everybody else, but knowing within oneself that we are connected, and that there was only one person that could change. That would be myself. And that meant that everything outside of me was a mere reflection of that. When I get closer and closer to understanding that, then there is only me to look at when I have to, and I won't blame myself or judge myself, but look at myself to shift my energy, so that I can, and then you're free, because you're freeing yourself from within yourself, not looking at somebody else to change anymore. And there is no, like the connections that you had, it could be fleeting or it could be forever. It didn't make any difference, but it was like the love that it contained was already within yourself. So that was the stability that you had in all your future relationships and so forth. So this is what's like sleeping dormant places within your brain. Started to see the flash of it. I hope it doesn't stop. But there's these sleeping dormant places within your brain, within the neuron paths of your brain. You are born with everything that you need to be able to interact in these through they're calling them like a portal into a different space of mind, and outside of outside of us, we'll start to see a reflection of that, where people are discovering actual locations where portals are there, and in front of us would be like the round, ball of light that ends up just inverting into another dimension, or the past catches up to the future is the past, and we all start to realize there's always a path. You can go through these pathways into these other places, and they take you to different spaces of where your mind is, or where your frequency or where your feeling is already at. So if you're aligning yourself with a frequency that is in peace, then you will move towards that peace when you open up these portals. This is why those that create these great big circles of CERN, I forgot what it's called, Hadron Collider, where they were saying that they were colliding particles to find a spark of God. They were trying to open up portals. But the problem with that is, if you're not in sync yourself before you walk through any sort of portal, that you will end up at you might end up at a reality where little few things have shifted, but it's still the same outcome. You're still stuck where your feeling is, and so anyone that entered into these portals would start getting confused and start having all these weird things happening to them, because they were like not in sync with the peace of themselves, the love of themselves. And that is the key to humanity's up-leveling into these higher frequencies, is to have a new stable base as peace or love within oneself. And then to know that that's the bottom now. We don't go any lower than that. And then we can only expand outwards from there. It's like everything has a kind of a base, especially in a separated world. Our base is a certain place where we've been fighting each other, and in our reality is a lot of fights, a lot of wars, a lot of over consuming and all of that sort of thing, and it gets to the point, gets really messy outside of ourselves, because it's been really messy within us. It's always been an inside job, alignment with a frequency as we move towards these higher dimensions, because whenever I was in those spaces, the higher spaces, my mind was still. I did not have the hoo-ha and the doubt, the self-doubt, or any of that. It was just clarity and euphoric feeling as well. So this is what we're moving up into. That means we have to let go of that parts of ourselves that were connected to the warring self. Anything that is to do with the warring self, we're like, well, I'm now back into warring with myself, because I'm warring with that. I'm judging that. I'm persecuting that. I'm feeling guilt within myself, all that sort of stuff. So that has to shift. I did write down a couple of things during the week, and we will go through them as well. Okay. Annie, I live on a Theraton tablelands in the far north Queensland, where Seven Sister Mountain Range is worth a look. It's beautiful. Yeah, right. If I go up that way, that'd be awesome. Yeah, it would be really interesting to meet you guys in Australia as well as I go around. Never know what's going to happen, do we? Okay. So I also have these couple of messages on my phone that I wrote down through the week, When you are truly authentic, you don't second guess yourself because every decision is an amalgamation of both logic and intuition in the moment, living in the moment. So there's nothing left to second guess yourself with. So the second guessing comes from the separation within ourselves of the logic not completely agreeing with intuition, or intuition not completely, or a feeling base not completely agreeing with our logic. And so we take a jump into or a leap into a decision that we make, and then we second guess ourselves afterwards because of the separation within us. So when those two are amalgamated into the same circle or cycle or decision that you've decided upon, then when you step into that, you will feel there is no second guessing. This is where the peace of mind comes. This is why I was talking about when I walked into these other higher dimensions, my mind was still. There was no second guessing. It was just living in the moment, present with everything. I was whole within myself. So yeah, that might help you understand that when you're second guessing yourself, there's a part of you that's still holding on to the what ifs and the doubts, and that's not actually agreeing with the feeling base that you have of where you want to go to. So it's like, okay, I have to align my logic with my intuition for this to step into this wholly. And when you do, it comes to you very quickly. You manifest things very quickly. So that's a really good little message there for exactly what I was talking about. It's funny, I write these things down through the week and then I don't look at them at all. I just write them in the moment until I actually read them to you guys now. I might read them sometimes just before I go on live, but it's really funny how I'm like, oh yeah, that really does go with what I'm actually talking about now. They also said, just to help you guys out for those that are doing not so good in they're trying to control everybody in 2026. They said this is the year that the controlling will turn on other controllers, because the victims are awakening and they have less and less and less people that are victim to their world now stepping into for them to control. So they're kind of all awakening, and as they awaken, so if you have a narcissist valued person and they have nobody else that's a victim that's coming towards them, then they have to look at themselves, because a narcissist and a victim are like that. We cannot have one without the other. So if one awakens, if the victims start to awaken to their power, the narcissists start to awaken to theirs as well, but not from the power of trying to control everyone outside themselves. They're awakening to the power, the inner power within themselves. So we're actually awakening them to returning back to source energy within themselves. So they won't have, that year, the controlling will start to turn on other controllers. And then in that, they end up being controlling victims within themselves. And they either have to let go of it because it's a perverted kind of cycle that just keeps on consuming itself, and then they start to consume each other. So in an outer way, because they're consuming within themselves, it's not going to work. They'll consume each other, so they're either going to pass off into another life that takes them to a very unbalanced place, or they will wake up. So we're really at that point now where it's no return. You're either going to wake up, or you're going to end up moving your soul into a dimension that is more relevant to that fear-based scenario, victim perpetrator victim kind of scenario, because humanity is raising their level into a higher consciousness, and we need more space for that, and we're creating more space within our minds for it. Another little message that I got is, as a soul, there is no hierarchy. No one is more powerful than another. The only wealth is the wisdom one learnt and the compassion one has. So when we pass over, no matter whether you are a president or a homeless person, you are only as good as you feel. And if you have done wrong to others, like trying to control others, that life review you have as you leave this physical body will give you the feelings that are authentic to you and the feeling that you have while you did that. And so the expression will start to come back on yourself, which creates this whole next life you have. So when they pass over, then oh gosh, I hope it's disconnected again, hasn't it? Oh, please connect. I hope it connects. I think it will come back because it's gone. It's fleeting. Am I back, guys? This is so annoying. This disconnection. What annoying is it? How annoying? Yeah, back again. Correct. Okay. So, sorry. And the hardest thing is because I'm in the zone when I'm talking. I really should just record these things down now. But I feel like your energy is helping me as well connect to my guides. You guys help me too. So this is why I like going live. It really works. It's like a collective that's coming together to channel these beautiful messages. I'm like just the person that speaks it. Yeah, so we were talking about, I hope that you guys heard about the whole, when somebody passes, they have a life review and then they have to go over their feelings that they have. When they go over, they'll be feeling. That's the thing, the soul feels. So when somebody passes over, they will be feeling what they were trying to ignore. They didn't want to feel into their victims. They didn't want to feel into their own psyche either. So they push that aside, and then they can do all these horrible things to everybody outside themselves because they don't want to feel too much. So that unfeeling base ends up, because they have to leave this brain that's holding that kind of control mechanism in place for them when they're alive, when they can do all those things to people, that disappears. So when they have these life reviews, they can feel into some of these people's feelings that they have hurt, and then they have to now have that as their soul carry on to the next deviation or the next life. I don't even know if that's a word, deviation, but anyway, the next life. And then when they, so because that's what the realization of the pain that they caused others as well. So it's not like karma. It's well, it is and it isn't. It's just how things are, because one soul wants to evolve into something more, and the only way to do that is to actually really truthfully, authentically feel into where you are. How far away you have stretched yourself from source energy, from the love of self. How far did you pull yourself back? Sometimes it's really good because you can ping forward, and then those people that have done the absolute worst can realize, okay, now I'm going to be the absolute best. And, they form a life where they are really just truly, honestly helping everybody else. So there is a whole reason for all of this, but humanity's consciousness is shifting out of that separation and moving into a more of a compassionate society built on compassion. Yeah, this is why I don't worry about the acts that others do. I don't judge it and don't worry about it, because I know damn well that in the end it will always catch up on themselves anyways. So, I mean, all I have to really worry about is myself. And I feel that everybody is going to need to do this, not from an ego point of view of I'm the only one that exists, but from a point of view of self is reflecting everybody else is me as well. I extend my love out to all, and my reality is part of me as well. And I need to take that on board when I say self. That is the higher dimensions of self. It's not an ego, just self-centered. I'm the only one that exists in this world that needs to be the best. It's a connection to all moving forward. And mind you, this doesn't mean that I forget myself either in the equations. For doing so would mean that I don't value myself. And this equates to not valuing oneness, God, source energy, whatever you want to call it, the universe, which would only gift me a feeling of unworthiness to be, and that doesn't work either. So it's that's important to understand that as well. Yeah, like we can say to ourselves from a higher dimension, we've come into this world now, and then we're people pleasers because we don't understand the separation. So our go-to is to help everyone outside of us, but then we were dishonoring ourselves. We were completely dishonoring ourselves. Look, this is hello. This is Misty. Say hello. No, she doesn't very often. She's only just started to come close to me, and I've been here nearly 2 months. She'll come close to me so I can pat her, but she won't come up like, that's so cool. Anyway, she's finally getting used to me, completely, utterly getting used to me. She's beautiful. She's a ragdoll cat. Yeah. Can't really. She's just going to sit here in front of us while we do this. How beautiful is that? Talk about connection and love, right? And then I have that right there. Been very, very, very patient with her. She always comes up for her pats, but first time she's done this, right? I'm going to move on. Okay. So yes, so we really are learning to understand the points of ourselves within ourselves that we are learning to let go. We need to figure out what is the program that's been holding us maybe in we feel it's a safe space, but it's actually limited us so that we didn't move through the so-called light or the portals within ourselves. So we didn't make these new connections within our brain of how to activate ourselves into these new higher dimensions, what we actually want to bring forward. And they're taking me to children as well, how they just automatically do things without even thinking about it. And that is the right thing for them in the moment to do. And they don't have any, the outside world is going to view me as insane or stupid or weird or whatever. It's like the weird and the wonderful can now come through and be weird and wonderful, because that could be the authentic truth of who you are in that moment. They're showing me my daughter, she's now 20, 21, 22, sorry. And when she was only like 4 or 5, I remember taking her for a very long walk, and I wasn't sure if she was going to be able to handle it. And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. And what she would do is she literally wanted to run the whole track. I don't know whether she saw other people jogging on the track, because there were people exercising on this beautiful long walk up at Mount Nebo, which I actually just went with my girlfriend. But she used to run in front of me. And then she would get to so far, and then she would stop. I could always see her. And then she would just start shaking her body, just shaking. And then she was off and she'd run again. And I said to her, what are you actually doing when you're shaking your body? And she said, that gives me more energy, Mum. That's what's giving me more energy. I'm like, okay. So this is what I mean by, we might look weird, people running around, and now all of a sudden they're going to start shaking because they want more energy. But for a child, they just know this automatically. They know what to do automatically because they're closer to their soul's authenticity. The same child that I had, I was jumping on the tramp, and when I did a belly jump, my legs all flipped completely over, like my back went bent, and I really, really, really hurt my back. And I lied there and went, oh my God, I cannot move. I literally could not move. She was only, I'd say 3 at the time. She could just get up on this tramp. Mummy, stop, don't move. I'm coming. And she ran to the tramp. I don't know how she got up that tramp, but she got up that tramp. She's very tenacious though. She knows what she wants. She'll just do it. And then she laid her hands on my back, and she didn't say anything. She just laid her hands on my back, and then she goes, okay. And then I can move, and it was absolutely fine. No problems whatsoever. So see what I mean? When we move into our authenticity, we might look or sound a bit strange to others, but it's needed for these higher dimensions. So what are we actually letting go of? We're letting go of the worry about what other people think about us. More and more people are doing this as we go along, and it's going to become more and more obvious as we go along too, that these people actually know what they're doing. I know I've seen people, you might have seen somebody, a post on Facebook or something of a person, I think they were in 1950s or 1940s or something, where they were an antenna for seeking water. And when they did it, they did all this distorted kind of movements, like really weird movements. And then they would just, and it kind of like almost like a little spastic sort of vibe to it. But then she would go there, and then the farmers would dig there, and there would always be a well there for them to seek the water that they needed. And she just had that ability to do that, but she didn't care that other people thought that she looked stupid. So this is what we're here we go again. No. It should come back. It's come back here, so it should come back. It should come back. You're good. Yeah, okay. Only little bits. Yay. Okay. But yeah, so there's people that are from higher dimensions and higher planets. Maybe this is like getting me so that I could channel and I can still remember. I'm retaining it more in my logical brain so that I can keep the flow going. That's really interesting. Okay. I always see things as a reflection of something I can learn from it. And that's probably a good idea for you to do that as well. So it's not all negative. Anyway, well, there is no negative. Any case, they were talking about, let's pull them through again. They were talking about higher dimensional beings that come here in this physical body, and they have an understanding of something in their planet that they could do, that they could also use this body that they come into as a human body. They could utilize the parts of this body and the program of this body to actually ground this newness, this new ability, this, whether it goes beyond telepathy and telekinesis or something. Maybe it goes beyond what we could even imagine, but they know it. They know it because they come from another planet, so they have a full understanding of what that ability or that gift is. And so then once they release the fear of how the outside world sees them, and they just truly become their authentic self, they will bring in this new gift for humanity to go, oh, if they can do it, we can do it, because they have exactly the same body. They're bringing me to when I was working with Parisha, and she held my hand and talked to me telepathically for over an hour. When she did that, I knew then that humanity had a gift that they were repressing, and the reason why I knew it is because she was human. She wasn't from another. She wasn't an alien from another planet. She was human, so she had the same body as what I had, the same things. It's just that she had activated more because she was taught by her elders before she was introduced into society what those gifts could be, and so she knew how to activate them, and then that activates me, and then I was like, okay, I want to know more about that. And at that stage I was getting visions, I was seeing things and that sort of thing. So I started to ask my visions to come to give me more information, and they started to give me more information about the balance of the minds and the activation of the pineal gland and the release of DMT into the Brahma cave and all that sort of stuff, and the somatic patterns, and holy crap, it just went on and on. So we've got these abilities that can be activated by each other as well. So you might end up wanting to improve yourself as a human, and to activate these new gifts. And then when you do that, you might seek somebody that's from another planet that's come here specifically to share their gifts from that other planet. Now, they would not be here unless Mother Earth has already decided she wants to learn this. And if humans are seen as a neuron path of Mother Earth, wisdom that can be relearned, then we become her brain. We become her a newness that's learning some new gift or something like that. So a foreign body might come in, but it has to come in as a human. So they've gone through probably a whole heap of crap to be able to, if you go into the program that was activated before in the separated world, the anxiety and all of the problems that they would have, they might be seen as autistic or whatever to begin with, but they have these capabilities within them. I literally went to a spiritual place that had a lady that was, I don't know what she was, but she couldn't talk, she could just move, and she was just in a wheelchair, and she was just all curled up in this wheelchair. She was deformed, her body was deformed, and she was sitting there. Her mother wheeled her in front of us, and then she just placed her hand near her or on her, and then she just started to telepathically tune in, and she became the voice for her daughter that could channel messages. And it was amazing to watch. So these are the things that we're starting to activate. No matter, even if you are disabled or whatever, there could be this hidden gift that's within you. And then you might have said, I'm going to choose that parent because that parent is going to actually help me to be able to activate this gift, to be able to share it with the world and so forth. So there's so much more going to happen. I mean, I actually saw this for real. This wasn't on Facebook or anything. This was a beautiful soul. It was very, very, very intriguing. So there was telepathy, but telepathy to me is channeling anyway, because when we open up that, it's just more of a focus or alignment with the energy that you are actually activating. And it's only because I can activate with my team because they've shown themselves, and I've been part of that game for all my life. So I understand it. But then I can share it with you guys, and maybe you haven't seen the visions that I've seen, but it activates something in you. So this is an activation, just thinking about it. At the beginning, we had activation and progress past the light frequencies. So past light frequencies, what's beyond the light? Holy crap, a whole new game. Very interesting where they're taking us. But we have to learn what that old program was to let that old program go. Is it dividing you? Is it separating you from your authentic truth? Is it like, ask yourself these questions. Why am I limiting myself? We often also look for, well, it's all going to happen in divine timing. Well, what is divine timing? It's when your frequency is in alignment with the frequency that you are seeking. So that is divine timing, still comes from within you. Thank you, Annie. Showing you a coffee. Thank you so much. Well, thank you, everybody's energies as well. I really do appreciate that, Annie. So I'll try to go live tomorrow as well and do some free tarot readings. Cross fingers, everybody, that it doesn't stop, but I have to do that live. Otherwise, how can I do free tarot readings for the chat bar? See what else is happening here. Is there anything else that they want to bring through? So interesting where we're going to be taken. Those that are doing the work, they're going to be guided. This is the reason why, like I showed you that, told you that whole message just recently. If you haven't seen it, it's just on my channel. Just go to my channel and look up, Sacred Journey. It's so interesting. We're going to be guided to these specific locations and places. Don't try to force it. You can go there just for fun or whatever, but when it comes to the actual activations within you. It will be a timing thing as well as a locale thing, as well as the way that you're thinking thing. It's everything. Yeah, I think this is why they're giving me a bit of space. Like I'm going up to Mullaney, then I'm going to Conondale after that for a house sit for a horse and a dog. And then I don't know where I'm going after that. So, yeah, and we'll just see where it all flows, Invites might come in, who knows? But it's interesting, like they're saying, we're directed to a certain place, and they're saying, if you see that as the same as how your brain is working, and that you're now asking to be, new gifts activated or new awarenesses within yourself, it's the same thing. Then your body is like asking you to go to, like you'll naturally go to these places. And that's where the amalgamation fits in as well between the outside world and the inner world. Just like the logical mind and the intuitive mind, the masculine and the feminine and all of that. And maybe that's where, if you're single, you even might meet somebody and that sort of thing. Or you might meet your soul tribes and stuff like that too. So that's all part of the parcel as we move along. It's not something that is, you're not forced, because if you're forcing it, you're only coming from your logical mind. Logical mind will say, I should be and I have to and all of that. Where intuition and logic is, I feel this is where I need to go. This is my next step. And it's almost like everything outside of you starts to fall away until that activates anyway. And you have to go there. It's like my whole life does that all the time. Lessons to be learned, but still growth to happen. It's not just growth and activations. There's also the unpeeling of another layer. You get used to the light as you move through a portal. Well, then as you get used to it, you see a whole new reality. But you've got lessons with that reality of how to actually walk. It's like learning to walk on water, they said. Learning to walk on water, and you would have to learn. You'd be wobbly to begin with and that sort of thing. So it feels like lessons again, but it's part of the parcel. And you might feel like you're stuck in the mud with something because your logical mind thought that when you reach that certain goal, that's when you have made it. But it was never that goal that you were meant to make it with. It was let that go, because it was more of an amalgamation with your feelings moving forward as you move forward through peace of mind and peace of self and all of that sort of thing. Anything else that wants to come through? Your nervous system will start to they're showing me taking a deep breath and finally realizing that life can play out differently than what you were holding on to. Yeah. Oh, thank you, One Big Pond. Slice of cheesecake with your coffee. That's so cool. Thank you. So there's, it's like too, when you walk on water for the first time, you might be wobbly and fall in again. But they're like showing me you wouldn't really fall in. You start to realize that, oh, that's really interesting. They're showing me somebody trying to walk on water. It's a whole new game. And then I was like, oh, you'll fall in. And then they showed me, no, you won't fall in. You'll just fall on the surface of the water. So the water now is a new reality. It's not that you won't ever be able to go in the water or anything like that. I'm just using this as a sort of an example. But it's like you won't fall deep down into that separation thing for very long. Because it becomes too uncomfortable for you to be in. So the feeling of that is now directed through new boundaries that you've set for yourself. That uncomfortableness is a new boundary that you've set for yourself. So now you can walk on the water, so to speak. And you realize, oh, I might fall, but I'm not actually falling through into that so deeply anymore, into the separated world anymore as deeply, because you're like you'll have to remove yourself from the place that you're at, or you just make an excuse, or you just say to yourself, I've had enough of this, and then the reality bends towards you to take you away from that. That's happened to me quite a lot as I've gone along when I'm working with my soul. If I've learnt a lesson and I've learnt it well and I want it over quicker, I just say, thank you very much for that lesson. I am now ready to release that. Take me to a place, take me out of this. And then boom, everything starts to click in. And for the benefit of everyone, I always say for the benefit of everyone, because everyone is me. So we want this separation to go smoothly, where there's no hoo-ha and warring and fighting because we want to separate from somebody and move on. It's like, just let it happen in a place that everybody is ready for the part to happen. And it can happen very, very, very quickly. You don't have to be waiting forever or anything when you have really, truly learned that lesson. Yeah. And the same goes for moving into these higher frequencies. We can use that value of ourselves to move through these higher frequencies and see the boundaries that we're putting in place as, well, that's taking me back into that separated world again. I don't want to go back to there. I want to be whole. As I move along, I want to be living in the moment and feel really good about myself in each and every moment as much as possible. I want a new base in my bucket. Okay, guys, I think I will leave it there. I really, really appreciate the donations and your beautiful, beautiful energy. If you do want a reading with me, please, go online and you'll get a Zoom link, and I just want to make sure that you guys realize if it goes to the spam or the junk mail. I've never ever had this happen before, where somebody has not turned out. I've done like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of readings, like 600 readings or something, and I've never ever had people not turn up and then just leave it. So really interesting energies at the moment, but the money's already gone in, so I just want to give them the reading now. And watch for your spam or your junk mail if you do have a reading for me. It's under Envision Art. I do have that on my website though. But any case, I can only do what I can do. Love you guys. Until next time. Bye.